Right. Well, hey guys, Ben here again. Excited to announce yet another sponsor for Elevate Sales Kickoff 2026 happening January 26th through the 28th in Nashville, Tennessee. Today, I'm joined by two great friends that I'm thrilled are partners for this event. I've got Christian and Lior here with Blanket Homes. Guys, how we doing?
Sweet. Not a lot of sleep as a fresh dad, but all in all,
Oh
doing
man.
great, man. Super excited to take part in this. We filled out the form, talking about like why were we excited about Elevate, and I think for us it's a no-brainer. You guys are the first and only conference that is really focused on sales and growth from a very technical perspective. Where you can really provide practical tools and not just say like if you'll do this you'll be able to
Yeah.
focus on growing your company. Like here we're you guys are providing some real actionable tools, and I think for us it was just a no-brainer. So I'm really excited about this.
I love it. Well, and for those that maybe have been living under a rock for the last couple years, and they're just now kind of poking their head out. If there's anyone out there that hasn't heard of Blanket or isn't familiar with Blanket, Lior, maybe you could just give us the rundown. Who is Blanket Homes? What do you guys do?
Sure. So our main goal is to help you guys stop losing doors, grow your revenue by becoming a trusted advisor to your clients,
Mm,
stopping the perceived sort of like value of clients looking at you as their rent collector, as their toilet fixer, and starting to look at you as their asset management partner, as their trusted advisor, the one who can really help them achieve their goals, whether it's, parking the property for a couple of years and then selling it, as an accidental landlord, or whether it's an intentional investor when your goal is to diversify, build a large portfolio, and retire financially safe. The whole idea that we're trying to do is to give you all the tools so that you can be more personalized with your clients and
mm,
meet them where they are. Whether it's your older client that just wants to get a PDF, doesn't know even how to log into their owner portal, and whether it's your millennial or Gen Z that wants a lot of dashboards and cool stuff and like real-time performance metrics, we want to sort of like have you covered,
yeah.
no pun intended. Like give you all the tools that you need to really become a true trusted advisor to your clients, which will lead to less churn and more growth.
I love that. I think that's great, Lior. And obviously, this is a conference about sales and marketing and going out and growing your business. I'd love to hear a little bit more. How do you guys view Blanket as fitting into the picture of business development for a property management company? What might a BDM or a business owner, who's trying to grow their company, uh, how might they employ Blanket to help them reach that end?
But I think to answer that question, we have to maybe take a step back and understand what asset management is in our industry.
Mm,
Because, right, sometimes, some folks may be listening here and thinking asset management, this sounds like something far away from me. It's like very complicated, probably like I'm envisioning, that Wall Street guy with that suit that, is just trading on the trading floor. But no, when you think about it, we as property managers, we're managing assets.
yeah.
We're not managing properties. Our clients, whether they're accidental landlords or intentional investors, come to us to manage their investment property. Now, those clients come with certain needs. So of course they want the peace of mind and the day to day being taken care of, the rent collection, the maintenance oversight, and everything. But they have additional needs. Maybe they need help with buying and selling. Maybe they need help with renovating. Maybe they need help with 1031 exchanging or anything else that's related to anything in their investment lifecycle journey, right? From start to finish, from onboarding to offboarding, they need someone to help them. Why? Because there's no one out there to help them.
Mm,
In the SFR space, that's something that not a lot of people think about even. In the SFR space, it's the only space in real estate, it's the only asset class that does not have the function of an investment manager. Look at commercial, look at industrial, office, you name it. Ask any investor in those asset classes, who do you invest with? They would always say a REIT, a
mm,
fund, a syndication operator. There will always be a professional investment manager there. In SFR, that's the only asset class
yeah.
where 98% of it is owned by mom and pop investors who don't have an investment manager.
Mm,
That And who can fill those shoes,
Yeah.
right? Who can fill that void? It's only us, the property managers. Now, to your question, how does that even relate to business development? So when you think about it, what does an asset manager is doing? Let's say they're a REIT, they're a fund. They're helping with acquisitions, they're helping with dispositions, financing, optimization of the portfolio, meaning renovations, improving cash flow, lowering expenses, right? Those are the things that you're technically doing, just not in a very standardized form or fashion in property management, right? Because if you're a property management company and you also have a brokerage arm and you also have maybe a maintenance division or a general contracting company, you're technically doing a lot of the things that the Wall Street asset managers are doing, but you're not getting paid for that technically and you're not getting appreciated for that.
Yeah.
So, technically, what we're trying to do is to take all those aspects that a normal asset manager will do in every REIT: acquisitions, dispositions, renovations, data, a lot of data for you to be empowered by to take action and to really help your clients get to their goal. And that way, a BDM, when he's equipped with all the data that he needs to understand how every client is really doing, or a potential client how he's really doing, and when he's also equipped with, in our case, an AI engine that tells them exactly what to say, and so like surfaces all the data that is relevant for any situation, then you can now talk about increasing your close rates. Then you can talk about generating more leads because you're differentiating yourselves in the market. You're no longer that rent collector. You're no longer that toilet fixer. You're a sophisticated, trusted advisor for all of their real estate goals. You need help with acquisitions? No problem. I got you. We got an off-market marketplace that we can find you all the properties you need. You need help. You need help with dispositions? No problem. I got you. I can help you sell your property, even without doing any showings or whatever, because I can sell it to one of my existing clients. Sight unseen. No need to renovate it. Sell it as it is, and there will be even an upside potential to my other client. Need help with renovations? To improve your property value, to increase your cash flow, because after the property is upgraded, we can increase the rent, right? I got you. So, all these little things that come together with data and with services, when they're baked into a platform that powers you as the BDM to use it whenever it's relevant, that's when you're moving the
Mm.
needle significantly and are just, reliant on SEO or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, to me, just listening to what you're saying, really, it's a little bit of a perspective shift. I talk to and work with a lot of BDMs who will say things like, hey, I got this inbound lead and calling me, and they're going straight to asking about my pricing, right? And the reality is, right, if you're not able to articulate the value that you're offering, you do kind of get reduced to a commodity, right? Yeah,
True.
it's the Amazon of like, I'm just going to go through and find the cheapest option. And maybe I'll look at the reviews, but at the end of the day, like I really just want to know what the price is. And so I think what you're articulating is just this different way of thinking, especially for a salesperson who's talking to folks and not sort of being pigeonholed as like, hey, we're just this service provider who collects rent and does maintenance, right? It's very different. And um, one of the things that I'm really excited about as it relates to you guys being a part of this event is that Lior, you made a brilliant move among many in your life, I would imagine, and brought on one of my favorite salespeople that I've ever had the privilege of working with. So, Christian, I want to ask you kind of the same question. Anything to add to what Lior shared? Like you as a salesperson, how do you view Blanket fitting into the life of a BDM who's out trying to grow a business, or even just a business owner?
Yeah, Ben, and thanks again for having me, brother. Great to see you. It's exactly what Lior said. When you think about where you stand in the market, value is just what you get versus what you give
Mm,
up, right? Everybody is constantly evaluating that teeter-totter, and when value is high, price doesn't matter so much, right? And when prospects or inbound leads come at the BDR with the question of, oh, what are your fees? What is the pricing? What they're evaluating is only half of the teeter
mm,
totter, and the value that they're benchmarking you against is those rent collectors out there,
yeah,
right? They don't know what they don't know, and so absent your sort of shifting of the paradigm, you're kind of at the mercy of the market there. And so that's what Blanket is here to do, is really shift that paradigm, challenge that assumption that, you know, maybe property managers can be more than rent collectors, right? There is obviously a degree of maintenance management, but
Sure.
there's enough expectation management, and there's enough people management that I think that's where you can add value. You know, you and I kind of bonded in our previous tenure over resident
Yeah.
experience. How do we, in this experience economy, how do you turn that into a competitive advantage, right? Obviously, you're working for your client, but if you can get the tenant part right, things tend to fall into place. What if we looked at the client side,
Yeah.
and what if we took that same approach instead of, you know, what's the least we can do? What if we said, what's the most we can
Mm.
do? What if we went all in on client experience, kind of planted our flag as the professional asset manager and used that as a badge of honor in the market? What would that do to our marketing? What would that do to our
Yeah.
messaging? You know, it kind of starts to write itself a little bit when you think about it that
That's
way.
right.
So that's what gets me
Yeah.
excited.
Amen.
Yeah, that's such a good way to put it, Christian. You know, I'm glad you brought up our previous experience together over at Second Nature, and you know, I've shared with a lot of folks that really this idea for Elevate Sales Kickoff was born out of the experience we had at Second Nature, bringing the team together in January every year to kind of recalibrate, you know, get our mindset in the right place, look ahead at the year to come, develop skills, just have fun, right? And I think that one of the unique things about this industry is that most property management companies at best have one salesperson, right? They've got one person on the team. Maybe you're the business owner and you're doing sales. You don't even have a BDM. Like that can be kind of a lonely place. And so we're really excited to bring people together from companies all over the country to be able to share that experience. I'm curious from your perspective, and you know we attended a lot of these together. What does sales kickoff mean to you? Why is it something that people should consider coming to?
Yeah, so we always used to say, you know, sales kickoff, SKO, it's the most expensive thing we do for the year, right? And it was true, right? It took time off of the
Yep.
grind. It took effort and logistics to get people all in one place. Like it's not easy to have everybody's schedule stars align that way. You know, it took effort to find, you know, there was a nice hotel
Yeah.
that we stayed in. We all got to experience kind of some connective time together out of the office that wasn't free,
Right.
right? And I would argue it wasn't cheap, and it was worth it because what it gave you was that paradigm shift
Mm.
internally. You know, they say culture is one of those things where if you're not deliberate about it, it'll kind of happen
Yeah.
to you. You either write the script or it gets written for you. And a sales kickoff, a recentering, a real moment of deliberacy can be everything that you need to write that cultural story, to get everybody together, paddling in the same direction. And Ben, you and I can attest, you can do a lot more with a lot less if everybody is moving in the
Yeah.
same direction, if everybody's vision is aligned, if everybody is high-fiving and alley-ooping and handing off to each other smoothly. That's where the magic
Yeah.
happens, and that's where, you know, you hear about these great cultures. Really, all it is a result of some deliberacy and some coming together to align on what are we trying to achieve and what's the best way to do that together.
Yeah.
So
Man. Well,
Amen.
yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Christian. And you know, it's so easy. I think for all of us, right, no matter what our role is, to just sort of feel like we're in this hamster wheel of the day to day grind. We wake up, it's the same routine over and over again, and like it, it really is valuable to be able to take a step back, step out of that, and to say like, okay, what do I want to accomplish this year? Right? What is my goal? But equally as importantly, how am I going to get there? Right? And so we want people to leave feeling like not only do they have clarity around what the goal is, where they want to get to, but also how are they going to get there? What are the things that they need to do? You know, is it more deliberate practice? Is it working with a vendor like Blanket so that you can refine your discovery conversations with prospects, right? All of these things are really tied together, and I couldn't be more excited to have Blanket as part of this event. So thank you guys so much. Thanks for making the time for this conversation. We will see you all in Nashville, January 2020.